Welcome back to the renovation series. This is episode 8. We're back in the kitchen today, and it's finally time to give these cabinets some attention. They weren't in terrible shape to begin with, and I wanted to try my best to keep them out of the landfill. And I knew that they could really shine with just a little bit of love and a fresh coat of paint. The little bit of love part went smoothly enough. The fresh coat of paint, on the other hand, turned into a bit more of a journey. More on that in a sec. In my last video, we painted the kitchen, and I asked you if you thought crown molding belonged in here, and most of you agreed with me and said yes. So let's get that checked off the list first. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm renovating this 100-year-old house by myself and on a budget, so hit that subscribe button and join the journey. I just realized I got the wrong size. This is too big. And I've already made a cut on one of them. Just cut the one piece of crown and I put it up and I realized it is far too big. It's the thicker one, and I don't know why I didn't realize that, but whoopsie. I have my back bevel set to 33.9. I'm gonna move this to 31.6. So this is gonna be my right side cut, so I have the bottom facing me. That is going to be the bottom inside corner. Now to make your other side cut, we are going to keep the same bevel at 33.9. Then we're going to move this angle over to 31.6 over here, which is this little dotted line. We're going to take our crown, flip it around so the bottom is facing the fence. Editing Whitney here. Hi, just wanted to pop in and say I tried my best to keep my poison ivy arms out of frame, but you can still see them. I'm trying my best to edit out as much of it as possible because they're bad. They're gross. So if you see my poison ivy, especially on my right arm, it's healing now. I still don't even want to show you. It's gross. So just don't look at my arms. Okay, bye. I just need to shave just a smidge off, but we're almost there. A tip for when you're putting up any sort of molding, definitely paint it first. You're gonna have to go in and fill your nail holes and caulk and do a second coat. But if you can get that first coat on before it's hung up, you're gonna thank yourself later. The crown was 1,000,000% the right choice. I do need to go in and touch up a little bit of the red paint, but it's looking good. All right, so where the tape is on the walls is where I'm gonna put some floating shelves. What do you guys think about this? So I do have an idea for the countertops. A lot of you have said butcher block would look really good in here, and I 100% agree. But I have a little secret. And the floors are all right. They're not wonderful. A couple of them are cracked. They've seen better days. So I have an idea for a DIY in here, but that's going to be for a couple weeks from now because I want to get the rest of the house done before I do any sort of work to the floor in here. So we're getting there. Got my little trim pieces cut. This is going to seal the top part of the cabinet. I'm pretty sure these are going to work, but I want to get the doors on first. So if this is a little bit too thick, then I haven't already glued it on. I'm gonna have to rip it off. You know what I mean? So these are prepared, ready to go, but I do need to get the doors on first just to triple check that these fit. Onto the cabinets themselves. This kitchen was totally configured in a different way, so I kept the best 3 bases and they're going to go along this wall. So I'm just filling in the previous holes with this wood filler. Repainting your cabinets is not for the faint of heart, you guys. This is a task. It's definitely going to be worth it, but it is a task. And since you have so many moving parts, try to stay as organized as possible. Have a system in place. I saw a girl do this on TikTok and I thought it was brilliant. I'll see if I can find her original video and link it. So as she took all of the doors off, she labeled where everything goes. So this is upper right cabinet 1, and then this is upper right cabinet 2. So also what she did was when she took her hinges off, she labeled the hinges and where the hinges go. So she made this little system. So on like each hinge, she marked with like a little dot system where they go. So like these are your doors. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is hinge number 1. She just put a little dot. And then hinge number 2, she put 2 dots. Hinge number 3, she put 3 dots. And then hinge number 4, she put 4 dots. So when she puts these back on, she'll know exactly where they go. And I thought that was genius. So is labeling every hinge totally necessary? I have no idea. Probably not, but I've never done this before, so I might as well take a good piece of advice when I come across it. After you have all of your hardware removed, you need to degrease everything. This is one of the most important steps, so don't skip it. It makes it so much easier to sand, and your sandpaper doesn't get gunked up with all of the schmutz that was on the surfaces of your cabinets and your door fronts. Then comes the sanding. This process takes the longest, but the prep work is the most important part of painting your cabinets. We're just doing a scuff sand here to rough up the surface so the primer will adhere to it better. If your cabinets have a visible wood grain, you're probably going to want to go in with a wood grain filler at this step. Mine don't have that, so I'm going to skip that. Make sure you either vacuum or wipe down all of the dust from sanding, and then you are ready to prime. My all-time favorite primer is Zinsser Bin Shellac Primer. I swear by this stuff. I've tried all of the other primers out there, and the Bin Shellac is by far the best. I first went in with a paintbrush and a foam roller, but since the shellac dries so quickly, the paintbrush strokes weren't leveling out, and the foam roller left little bubbles on the surface. Okay, so I have my first coat of primer on here. I brushed the edges and then rolled the middles. A couple issues. There's quite a bit of texture from the brush, and there's actually quite a bit of bubbling from the foam roller. You definitely have to go in and sand down between coats anyway. But this is going to require a lot more sanding than I had anticipated. So what I think I'm going to have to do is sand all of these down and then get my paint sprayer and spray on the second coat of shellac primer. And then I'll also use the paint sprayer for the actual paint as well. This is quite a task. If you're going to repaint your cabinets, make sure you really want to do this because this is a lot of work. So I laid the doors down flat on some solo cups, and that worked pretty well, but just make sure when you're painting you don't go too heavy-handed, especially on the edges, because you can get pooling of paint on the underside lip. All right, we're looking pretty good. This is the first coat. So I sprayed the first coat on all the doors as they were laying down flat on the floor, and that worked okay, but I just didn't have as much control as I wanted, and I'm gonna have to give these doors like multiple coats. So I need to figure out a way to hang them. So a lot of people do is they'll drill like 2 little pilot holes and then screw in some cup hooks and then hang it that way. But I don't want to create any more holes on here. So what I'm going to do, these are the little screws that were in the hinges. I just got them out of the little baggies, and I'm going to screw them into the inside and screw them into the already existing screw hole for the hinge itself. I'm having them stick out by about 1/4 of an inch. Fishing line would probably like be the best thing to use, but I don't have that. I have this little thread stuff. This is just from the dollar store. You're gonna get about 2 yards of your little string. Tie the ends together like double knot so it's super secure and it won't pull apart. And we're just gonna loop the little string around the screw heads. And now I got these hangers at the dollar store. For the heavier doors, I'm gonna use 2. And look, we have a hanging door that we didn't have to add any more screw holes to. So in theory, this works. In reality, we will find out. When it hangs by itself, the little strings aren't going to touch the surface. Don't forget, you have to sand down your primer between coats. I'm going in with this 220 grit, and shellac is really easy to sand down. Okay, let the experiments commence. Scientist Whitney checking in. Experiment results are ready. Did it work? Yes. Was it the best solution? No. Since the paint sprayer forces out so much air, it makes the doors wiggle around too much, and it was harder than I thought to get paint behind the strings. I don't really love this paint sprayer. It keeps getting like gunked up in the nozzle, so it's like spluttering out. Paint spray, this will be fine for the primer for the shellac because I can sand it down, but I definitely don't want to use this for like the actual paint. It's also like pushing out so much air out of these two nozzles. There's supposed to be like a little bit of airflow, but really when you pull the trigger, like that's when the air happens. But this is like almost almost as much pressure as like a compressor hose. So I've taken this apart, I've cleaned it, I've reassembled it, I've troubleshooted it, and I don't know what's wrong. This did not work. It was a good plan, but it ultimately was not great. You can see right here where the paint didn't really go behind the strings. So we're gonna take these screws out. This is an upper cabinet door. This is the top of my door. So I'm gonna put my little hooks into the top. Just go ahead and pre-drill some holes and screw your little cup hooks in. We can get rid of the string that did not work. There we go. Giving myself a mental break from the doors themselves, I decided to move on to painting the actual cabinets. And they look so good. It's giving me the motivation to keep my head on straight and to keep going on these doors. And I cannot believe what these cabinets used to look like. Before painting the doors, I want to drill the holes for my handles. For the single pulls, I'm just measuring and drilling the hole, but for the handles that have two holes, I'm using this handy dandy Craig jig. My drawer front is 17 7/8. So half of that is 8 15/16. This is 6, so the middle is 3. But I have my little Craig jig here. It's 5 inches apart on center. And then in the back, I have it set to 3 inches. You see right there, it says 3. So I can put this on the lip, center it up in my little center line, and then these in here are my drill holes. I just wanted to get it started because these clamps are not exactly what I should be using. So now that I have my little pilot holes started, I can finish. And that is ready to go for a little drawer handle. Are we ready for this? I got a new paint sprayer because the other one I had is like too splotchy. So we got this one. We're gonna test it out. I'm gonna test it out on some cardboard first before I go in on the doors. So I'm just changing out the nibs because I think that one was too big. We are running into a major dilemma with the cabinet door painting. I've used 2 different paint sprayers. This is a Wagner paint sprayer that I've had for years. I've used it on many projects. The only issue that I have with this is after a while, the little like nib in here can get gunked up with paint and the paint comes out super splotchy. So I thought that it was a problem with this paint sprayer. So I got another one, same kind of deal, but there's like an actual metal pin in here. It's not a plastic little tip. So I thought that this would be better. Turns out neither of them are working because the paint is too thick. I'm using that Sherwin-Williams urethane enamel trim and it's way too thick for these type of paint sprayers. And I need like a professional paint sprayer. I can't use one of these like air ones. I need like an airless one with like a 2000 PSI pressure thing. So I've called around to see if I could rent one. I've called all the big box stores. I've called my local rental places. Nobody has them, or if they do have them, they only rent them out for latex paint. They don't rent them out for the urethane enamel paints because people don't clean them out right. They get returned all gunked up and they get ruined. So I sent Marky to the store to go buy me a paint sprayer. That paint sprayer is kind of expensive. It's a little bit more of an investment than I originally thought, but I am saving the cabinets and I'm doing all the work myself, so it kind of evens out. I can definitely use that paint sprayer in the future. I plan on painting the exterior of a house, so I can definitely put it to use then. I called Sherwin-Williams and you can dilute the paint by 10%, and I did that and I ran a little test. Let me show you. So when I originally painted it, it was like super duper splotchy. It was not working at all, but since that urethane enamel is like so self-leveling, it turned out okay. So I think if you don't want to invest in a professional paint sprayer and you want to do something like this, you can dilute the paint and it might work out for you, because the paint does have like a nice self-leveling effect to it. But I've done so much work prepping these doors that I don't want to risk that, you know what I mean?
Wow.
I need a coffee or a cocktail or a cigarette or something. Guys, we're running into a major dilemma. I don't know if I want to cry or if I just want to book a one-way ticket to Italy and drown myself in a gallon of Aperol spritzes, because I got the new paint sprayer and it works, but I did not realize how much paint was coming out, and every single one of the doors is just like dripping. And I went through like an entire gallon of paint. Oh no. I think I ruined them. I'm covered in paint. You should see my legs. My shoes used to be like a tan color. Now they're alabaster. Oh no. Every single one. Every single one. Oh man. All of these drips is breaking my heart. I thought I did such a good job too, but holy cow. Here we go again, breaking out the sandpaper. At least this time I got a power sander. One of the biggest things I've learned from doing this DIY project is that I definitely do not want to be a professional cabinet restorer person. That's definitely not in the cards for me. All right, that is not too bad. I'm probably gonna have to go in with a little bit more of the shellac primer and just hit a few of the spots. But okay, it's not that bad. It's just a little bit more work. So we're getting there. These cabinets have been quite the journey. It's a learning curve. I've never done this before, so I'm learning and we're learning together. We're doing this, together. It isn't so easy being vulnerable and learning online publicly, but you know what? It's fine. I have the courage to do it. So if I can do this and save you guys some headache and give you a little bit of inspiration for what it is possible that you can do, then I'm more than happy putting myself out there. But I hope you guys liked this video. I wanted to get everything all done, have like a big HD TV type of reveal, but sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. So thank you for being here and sticking around, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.